You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey, music lovers, and welcome back to Modern Musicology. My name is Alan, and say hello to Stephanie Seymour.
Hey, everybody.
And Anthony Williams.
What's up?
And Rob Levy.
Are you on the drugs we talked about in the last episode?
Possibly. We're here to talk about 1985 once again. This is like the third week in a row, but this week we're doing the second half of our show talking about the albums that were released in 1985 and maybe a couple of singles too. And we're going to pick up from July, and we all know what happened in July. That was freaking Live Aid. And 2 episodes ago, we talked all about Live Aid. So if you want to hear more about that, just go listen to that episode, which is actually doing quite well. It's only been out at this point when we're recording. It's only been out for a week, and it's already outperformed the episode before that, which has now been out for 3 weeks. So,
Wow.
Hey, Alan, you know what we missed last episode?
What?
We Are the World.
You know, you're right. We did not talk about We Are the World, but we did do an entire episode about We Are the World last year in 80.
We did.
When we were the 40th anniversary of it being recorded.
Let's just acknowledge it.
Yeah, let's do.
Move on.
Yeah.
So, We Are the World happened. There you go.
Yeah, great.
There you go.
85 was a big year for me because like 1980 was the year that my entire musical world exploded and my horizons expanded, and I was exposed to all this stuff, and I was just like soaking up influences from every direction. 85 was almost as big a year for that because that was the year that I started working at Specs Music in Central Florida, a music store, and I did that job for 5 years and I loved it. And like every album that came out in 85, I have some connection to. And I got exposed to lots of stuff that we got like in-store play copies for, and we would play in the store. And some of it was the first time I'd ever heard these things. And one of those is a name that I knew, and I probably knew a song or two, but we got Al Jarreau, the Live in London album. Oh my God. The first time I played that record, I was like, I have just found a new favorite artist. I really didn't know that much about Al Jarreau at that time, but he is a spectacular jazz vocalist. His songs are really cool. Most of these songs on this live album, there was only one track that I had heard before. The rest of them were new to me, and I just fell in love with every single one of them. So an odd way to start this hour off, but Al Jarreau in London is just an incredible jazz / rock / pop album that I totally fell in love with from working at that job.
What song would you pick to put on your Spotify playlist, Alan?
The opening track, which is called Raging Waters.
Okay.
Oh, I listen to that song over and over and over and over and over. It's so good.
Awesome.
That's funny, Alan, because 1980 for me is the first year I really started like soaking up records that I was hearing from my brother playing them and my sisters and stuff. 85, the thing to take away from last week and sort of prepping for this show is that this is the year I musically really became literate. I mean, I listened to a lot of stuff in 84, but 85 is the year where I started really like shoplifting the cassettes and going to the record stores.
Shoplifting.
And,
oh my God.
Drug shoplifting. We're doing good.
I hope there's a statute of limitations on that stuff.
There was a recession. Yeah, and it's also the first year I really became aware of college radio, which little did I know would change my whole world.
Yeah.
Let's just say that 1985, we talked about the Australians, we talked about, lots of other, we haven't talked about the Goths yet. And
right.
Somebody told me at the coffee shop this week, I better fucking talk about the Goths. So we had an earlier Sisters of Mercy album earlier in the year. But this is the year 4AD Records sort of really takes off. They've got 2 albums and an EP from the Cocteau Twins, and they've got a Diff Juzz record. But Clan of Zymox dropped their debut album, which would sort of create a whole genre called darkwave, which I did not realize was a thing until like 2 decades later. But they have a record called their self-titled record, but they have a track on it called A Day that's still great. And it's more seminal because the cover art and sort of like they were Danish and different, from a lot of the other bands coming out of England and America at the time. But also 4AD sort of really did change the game later on with visuals and stuff they would give out, and it would give us the Pixies and other things. So that's in July.
Yeah, that was a big one. I mean, that was an influential one, at least I should say, right? All right, I'm going to give it a twist also with a very kind of experimental record from Todd Rundgren called Acapella.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love it. Okay, this is an album he made using his voice only. So anything you hear on this record is his voice put through maybe a sampler, or he did it with, manipulation of, electronically manipulating the voice. He did a lot of overdubs. But this is a sick album. I mean, there are so many cool songs on it. I have to say, I think you need to listen to the whole thing to get because there's a lot of different styles on it. And so that's why it's sort of hard for me to pick my favorite song on this. I would say Something to Fall Back On, though, is probably my favorite. But there's so many heart-wrenching lyrics on this and beautiful, like it's like an outpouring of emotion on this. So Pretending to Care is very close on there for me. I think this album is a must listen. I really do. It's just such a cool concept.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to revert to type. You all know me. You all know how I love my heavy metal.
Yes.
You all know how I love my new wave of British heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the year, or the second half of the year, where possibly one of the iconic live albums came out. And I don't generally love putting live albums in this because they are often kind of cliched. They're often kind of boring. But holy shit. Iron Maiden's Live After Death.
Yeah.
Which came out of their 189 date World Slavery Tour.
Oh my God.
Off of their Power Slave album. Insane. They played 4 nights running at the Long Beach Arena, California, with Twisted Sister as their support act. The album was recorded in March 1985 and released in October 1985. And holy shit. If this is not the gold standard in live heavy metal, I don't know what is. Everything from Churchill's speech at the beginning, we will fight them on the battlegrounds, blah, 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 into Aces High, right to the end with Phantom of the Opera, or if you take the 1995 reissue version, Murders in the Rue Morgue. Good Lord. This is how you do a live album. Bruce at the top of his game yelling, "Scream for me, Long Beach! Scream for me, Long Beach!" Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking awesome.
I'm gonna have to listen to this.
The set list, incredible. This is one of the greatest live albums of all time, and it came out in 1985, and that is all I have to say about it.
But I think you know about me that I do think that the greatest album they ever did is Power Slave. So this is from that tour, and this is, to me, this is absolute peak Maiden, and you cannot find a better era for Maiden. And so they captured this live album at exactly the best time they could have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I love the next couple of eras, whether it's Somewhere in Time or Seventh Son.
Oh, sure.
But live?
Yeah.
Good God. Good God. There is not a better heavy metal live album than this. Period.
And there's a couple of other metal things happening this time of the year too, because Dio's Sacred Heart.
Right. Ronnie's out there, and that's his last album with Vivian, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, before Vivian becomes a problem.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh no, he does one more. He does Intermission, which is an EP.
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
live album after that.
That was a lot. Yeah, that was a live album though. So it was after this tour that Viv is out.
Yeah. Sacred Heart is good. It doesn't quite measure up to Last in Line or Holy Diver.
Yeah.
But it's still a good album.
It's a great album.
It is.
And I saw them on that tour, and holy cow, was that a great show. Oh.
And that's the thing, Alan. I think the tour was probably better than the album.
I think so too.
I mean, you look at what they would have obviously played, and hearing them do things, and I know you and I talked on a previous show about the Dio documentary, but hearing them talk about tracks like Rainbow in the Dark and Last Line, Holy Diver, those earlier tracks sounded great on that tour, particularly with that production. And that album just isn't as good as the first two, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think any of them were after those first two. Those first two were just like lightning. They're just magic. Yeah.
And by Sacred Heart, it becomes kind of clear that Vivian's kind of checked out, unfortunately.
Yeah. But also in the metal world, we've got Yngwie Malmsteen's Marching Out, which was a really, really great record. And the big song from that got some MTV play was I'll See the Light Tonight. Fantastic song. And then Kiss with Asylum, which is their mid-'80s album, the first one with Bruce Kulick, who was the best guitar player they've ever had. And it was from their non-makeup years, it's a rawer record. That's a hard word to say, rawer record. And it just has a punch to it. And man, everything on that album is fantastic. But yeah, so there's some good metal stuff happening that part of the year.
Hold on, Alan. Do you like Kiss?
I do like Kiss. Should people take a shot?
I'd never picked up on that. Yeah, take a shot.
Oh, God.
All right, I'm going to totally take it in 180-degree different direction with the Water Boys. This is the sea. And Anthony, you were talking about in the part one of this 1985 show how the Marillion album, you had to listen to it as a whole. And that's how I feel about this Water Boys album, because I think they're telling a story with this album. And I feel like it's a hard time to listen to just one song from this to get a picture of the full thing. Every song really is like a piece of the puzzle. So this is sort of the last of what they called their big music albums, or at least what critics kind of termed their big music. So this is a very grand, yes, I would just say very grand album. It reaches out, and just, he is so passionate on this album. I don't know if I could, like Anthony was having trouble picking a song. I think it would have to be This Is the Sea, which is the very last song on the album. But oh my God, you have so many, from Hole of the Moon to Old England to Be My Enemy to Trumpets. There is every single song I could name on this, and they're all my favorites in one way or another. This is great. And just so this came out right before I started working at Island, but this album and U2, of course, was why I wanted to work at Island so badly.
Oh yeah. Yep. Island was really on a roll at that point.
They were on a roll at this time. Yep.
So speaking of Island Records, but not quite yet, but also segueing into the Water Boys.
Yes.
July is when we get Rum Sodomy and the Lash.
Oh, yes.
From the Pogues.
Yes.
Which would forever change my world. First of all, I just want to say that Elvis Costello nearly broke up the Pogues with this record. And the fact that they rebounded to sign with Island Records later is no small feat. But you get a lot of great stuff. You get the classic Dirty Old Town. You get A Pair of Brown Eyes. You get Jesse James, which is great. It takes traditional Irish bar music and pub music and gives it punk with it. And on top of that, you get the poetry of Shane MacGowan, probably the ugliest frontman in the history of rock and roll.
Quite likely.
And one of the only inaudible interview I ever did with anyone that I cannot use any part
Oh,
of is when I
no.
interviewed Shane McGowan, because he was literally so drunk you couldn't understand him, and the accent was so bad. It's just, I've had two friends of mine that are linguists, and they don't understand what the hell he's saying either.
Yeah.
But it does not take away from his genius. And also Tommy Keen's on it too, which is kind of cool and a weird, useless fact. But yeah, it sort of got
Great
them
album.
a lot of notice. It took everything that Red Roses for Me did and sort of turned it up to 11. And it's an album that, like, people that don't sort of like indie rock or whatever, like, they're like, oh, I can listen to the Pogues. It's one of those albums that, like, I know people that love Motorhead, love the Pogues. I know people that, like, listen to, like, stuff that's nowhere near any of this. They listen to, like, straight up pop stuff, and they love the Pogues.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Dirty Old Town, right? Like, everybody
Yeah.
will sing that and know that. It's one of those songs. That's like a classic song, which is very unlikely
Yeah.
from this band, but it is.
Yeah.
Rob, did you say Red Rose?
Red Roses for Me was their first album.
Because that makes me think of something that came out late this year, and that is
Uh-huh.
So Red the Rose by Arcadia.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. I first saw Arcadia on American Bandstand
Oh, wow.
when they did Goodbye Is Forever at Election Day. And I'm like, wait a minute, those are the guys from Duran Duran. And that's how I discovered that record. But I'm sure your story is way more cooler.
I just love that album. And
I liked it better than Duran Duran
Love
at the
it
time.
too.
That's what made me like Duran Duran.
yeah, I mean, I 100% think of it as a Duran album. There's no need to separate it in my mind. But Election Day is amazing. Goodbye Forever is great. But later in the album, Rose Arcana is so good. And The Promise is just
Oh.
a spectacular song. And then that final track, Lady Ice, which is like half instrumental. And then, oh my God, it's so amazing.
Lady Ice, Simon does some really kind of cool stuff with his voice
Yeah.
on that record too.
Yeah.
That's
Good
a good
call.
one. I kind of forgot that came out on this year, but I missed
Yeah.
that on that list.
Yeah.
I mean, being the Duranie that you are, I
know.
thought
I
you
don't
would-
know why I missed that anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But hey,
You know,
it got in there, so that's good.
We talk a lot about Ital Disco on this show. 1985, as we know, was huge for MTV. It's all over the place. It's going everywhere. 1985, they had a make your own video and we'll play it contest.
Oh my
Right.
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And that gave us this guy out of Ireland who recorded under the name of Baltimora. Who the album
yeah.
is the album is useless. It's just superfluous. But he gave us Tarzan Boy,
Oh my
which is
God.
like
God.
the video for that. When about people were like, say that was like a thing that you heard that record everywhere, and people that could not sing the chorus of it were like the Tarzan Boy were all singing it. But it is still such a fantastically great, cheesy one-hit kind of single that I wanted to mention it. And he got a really fat deal on EMI for a record, and it just tanked. But Baltimora, man, that first single for Tarzan Boy is just, I think there's like 9 different 12-inch singles for it.
I mean, the real peak of Italo disco came the year before with Ken Laszlo and Hey Hey Guy, and
Yeah.
I will not hear anything else.
Yeah. And also the Italian disco stuff that came along kind of at this time with the Flirts is also kind of cool too, but that's mostly because Bobby Orlando's ripping off all these Italian guys and making records. But yeah.
Well, we've already mentioned most of the albums I wanted to talk about this year, but the last one remaining, and it's not really their greatest one, but it is the album that introduced them to the wider world, is Faith No More with We Care a Lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an interesting album. They are very, very experimental. They're doing things at this time that you wouldn't expect anyone to do, and they later get accused of ripping off the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Unfairly so. They are so much more creative. But on this one, you know, you get the title track, obviously. I think another highlight is Arabian Disco, which is just insane. But the big thing for me with this album is you are introduced to Mike Borden's insane drumming and Jim Martin's phenomenal guitar work.
True.
Chuck Mosley, while he is actually a really enjoyable vocalist, not nearly as good as his replacement Mike Patton, but
Yeah, Mike was
he brought
great.
a lot to the album.
I saw them live with Mike singing.
Yeah. But Chuck's a key part of this album.
Mhm.
It's a great really enjoyable album. So interesting in the context of the time. And of course, We Care a Lot, the title track, re-recorded for their mainstream debut on Introduce Yourself. And it's just fascinating. It's a really, really interesting musical oddity in 1985.
You're right.
It doesn't quite fit.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Mhm.
you said like they got comparisons to the Chili Peppers. Well, I think the Chili Peppers were maybe more towards the punky sound, but Faith No More
Yeah.
was definitely more in like the metal, like a newer metal kind of vein. And also,
They were so ahead of their time because they were
were.
taking that kind of funk sound.
Yes.
They were
Mhm.
taking the rap sound. They were taking the metal sound.
Mhm.
Right.
And blending them together before almost anyone else was. I mean, this
Yeah.
is 1985.
No, this is
Yeah.
this is when like Anthrax started like doing stuff like with the
Yeah.
punk scene and the metal scene and the even the rap scene, like everything sort of
And-
started coming together in that weird genre that is hard to define.
Anthrax didn't do Bring the Noise until 88. So with
No, I don't
3 years
even-
before that.
I'm the Man though they did before that. I'm the Man. Was,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. But like,
But still.
yeah, they are very much at the bleeding edge
Yes.
of what these bands are doing, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, because I literally remember being there at that time because you were only -2 at this time.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
remember
I
that,
was.
that scene very well, and then they were definitely a sort of interesting band of
Yeah.
the time.
Anthrax brought out I'm the Man in December 87. I was about 3 weeks old.
I just remember
Sorry,
We
Steph.
Care a Lot was like, one, it was all over 120 minutes, but that thing was like, I was sort of not really aware of what a party record was at that particular time, but that record was all over college radio. I
Yeah.
just remember left on the dial, like every time I turned it on, I'm hearing this record. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right. And it is just so catchy. And it is so like, it's so perfect. The drums are great. The guitar is great. The vocalist fits both of those perfectly. Nothing is out of sequence or out of sync with it. It's really, really good.
And that's their fucking debut.
Yeah.
The fact they go on and do tracks like Epic and Midlife Crisis later in their career. This is their debut.
Yeah.
And they are doing some insane shit here.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And the lyrics are great. You know, they talk about Live Aid and the Garbage Pail Kids. I mean, come on. Kids, ask your parents.
I mean, really do on that one. Rob says that a lot, but definitely to ask your parents on that one.
Yeah. Also, too, you know, around this time, we've got REM's Fables of the Reconstruction,
Yes.
which has got Wendell Gee and Driver 8 and some stuff on it. And it's not an album that sort of everyone thinks about with REM, but it's really sort of REM becoming REM, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of their best, but you're right. It's like they're really developing their style, you know.
Yeah. So there's
Mm.
that. And you sort of got this like beginnings of like the Americana twang, right? Because you got the REM record, and then you've got Jason and the Scorchers that year, and a little bit of that with Charlie Sexton too. You know, you've got some twang in this year, which is kind of cool.
I mean, that REM record was before Stipe became insufferable, so I'll allow it.
Unless you knew Michael Stipe, then
Then he was already insufferable, right?
so when you my Michael Stipe story is just very quickly, you know, the rest of them were all really great, and he was like, no autographs, handshakes fine, walks away.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I guess I think he was super shy.
Yeah, but
Yes.
still,
I mean, I've dated a couple of people who have lived in Athens or are from Athens, and the
Yeah.
general reaction is Stipe walks around like he owns the place. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
some of the people in St. Louis that know him kind of have that air too, because he's right from across the river. He doesn't want to talk about being from Collinsville, Illinois, but yeah.
You talk about the Americana scene that year, and people, I think, mostly think of Born in the USA, which didn't come out in 85, but the other one is John Cougar Mellencamp with Rain on the Scarecrow. And that album like really sort of like encapsulates the whole Americana thing. And he becomes kind of a key player in the beginning of Farm Aid, which is a kind of a spinoff from Live Aid, where they raise money for American farmers who are like having a real struggle at this time, and farms are failing and going into foreclosure and all this kind of stuff. And this album is like I mean, it is just middle America, like through and
Yes.
through. And you've got the Rain on the Scarecrow grandma's theme, which is literally just like his grandmother sitting on a front porch in a rocking chair. And then they record her singing this little song, and it's so sweet. And then Small Town, Minutes to Memories, and all these songs, even like Lonely All Night, which isn't technically, that Americana sort of thing. It just sounds like it's taking place in a small town because it's followed 4 tracks that are all about life in a small town.
What a great song that is, Lonely All Night.
It really is. And the whole album,
it.
I think, is fantastic. And I'm not a John Cougar Mellencamp fan, not at all, but I think this is a really good album. And Scarecrow is probably the best song on the album. Rumble Seat is really great also.
It's one of those albums that I just missed it when it came out, but as I got older and sort of my musical palette broadened, it's an album I went back to, and I'm like, this is really, really good.
But we also have to talk about ROCK in the USA because he spells out rock.
Right.
I mean, come on. Come on.
Well, we are slow people. To be fair, there are some people that couldn't spell it.
All right. I'm gonna switch it.
Stephanie's moving on before I get mad.
Switching.
Reading is fundamental.
I'm gonna talk about a totally English band, which is Big Audio Dynamite, which is basically, Mick Jones from The Clash. He pretty much led this band, but Don Letts was a huge part. I mean, what a team. I saw every single show they ever played in New York City. And for this tour, they played at The World, which was actually in a really shitty part of town at that time. It was down on Avenue C, but they had so many good bands at this venue. So anyway, I just remember vividly seeing them on this tour because it was just such a cool concept. So I'm picking my favorite song on the album, which is, I'm going to have to say Sudden Impact, which is not a single, but it's a great song. And my old band called the Beatbox Band. Yes. That's what we were called in college with with a former guest of this podcast, my friend Jeff Slate. He and I were in this band together, and our debut in 1987 of our band, we played in our dorm, Rubin Hall. And we were heavily influenced by Big Audio Dynamite.
Nice.
It's fantastic, right? I mean, you get Medicine Show samples like everything, and it really sort of sampling taken out of hip hop. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's really one of the first records that takes hip hop sampling out of hip hop and puts it in a different genre.
Yeah.
But you've got Bottom Line, you've got E = MC squared, you've got Sony, right? It's like, my God, everything on that thing is great.
Yeah, this is a just great debut.
Bottom Line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sudden Impact, that's such a great tune. You gotta put that on the playlist, Alan.
All right. And so since we're talking about English bands, I want to bring up one that I know Rob has on his list too, and that's Simple Minds.
I have
to ask, are you guys, like all three of you, raring up to propose to me or something right now?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I've been working on that for years, Anthony.
Okay. Good.
And this was when Once Upon a Time came out, and that is a perfect album, top to bottom. To me, I think it is just an incredible record. And it was really, I mean, I knew a song or two, and I certainly knew Don't You Forget About Me. And seeing them at Live Aid was really the thing that made me sit up and take notice and think, okay, maybe there's something behind that song. And I liked the song perfectly fine, but I didn't know much about them beyond that. And Live Aid is what really sort of opened my eyes to, there's more beyond that one single. Yeah. And they opened their set at Live Aid with Ghost Dancing. And that has ever since been my favorite Simple Minds song.
Wow. Cool.
I heard, a little bit of stuff from New Gold Dream and Sparkle in the Rain.
Yeah.
But this record just sort of gave life to its own. Oh, Jungle Land is on it. Alive and Kicking, sort of like one of the first CGI videos. And I had a friend of mine who was Scottish that was just like, this band could do no wrong because they were Scottish. And he was like, no, they're There was it was like the Irish with U2. They can't do anything wrong, but in this case, they made a perfect record.
Yeah.
And
Sanctify Yourself. What a great tune.
Sanctify Yourself is great.
Man.
And the thing is he was a really good frontman. Jim Kerr is such a great
amazing.
frontman.
I've seen them live a bunch of times, and they're so good.
And if you watch the new tour, if you see them on the tour they just did, his voice is still really, really good.
Awesome.
And the thing is about this record too is Once Upon a Time was doing really, really well, and then the Don't You Forget About Me single sort of came out, and it kind of made everyone forget about this record. And it's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
This is I think the second concert I ever saw was Simple Minds and The Call at the Fox Theater, and man, it was great. It was like a big spectacle theater. My first show that wasn't in a small club, and it was like, man, this is rock and roll. This is great.
So Jimmy Iovine produced this, so that is a good segue into my next, which is Stevie Nicks' Rock a Little.
Yeah,
I'm kind of going out of order of the.
Oh, there's no order.
Yeah, okay, because this is released in November, or even maybe, is it December? No, I think it's November of this year. But anyway, yeah, this is her third solo album, and I know to me it's not her best album, but I think there's something about it that, there's never a bad Stevie Nicks album, I don't think. But it's just,
I don't know, that one that had blue denim on it was kind of not good.
Oh, okay.
That was when she was super strung out, and anyway.
She was getting strung. No, she was pretty strung out for this one. But my absolute favorite is Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You, which is the last song on this album, I believe. Last.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think there's some cool facts about things that didn't make this album. There was a song written for Heart, which was These Dreams. That's it. These Dreams was supposed to be on this record. And then Stevie passed on it, and Heart obviously picked it up, and that became a huge song for them. And also Tom Petty wanted Don't Come Around Here No More to be for Stevie for this album. But she heard his vocals on the demo, and she was like, no, I can't do it justice, so you do it. And of course, that also became a huge hit for him. Anyway.
But this is a period where you don't think, Stevie doesn't do, songs written by other people. So I think those songs would have really stuck out on that album, even though, her first solo single was a Tom Petty song. That one really worked, but I just don't know that These Dreams would ever have fit for her.
Yeah. Well, who knows how she would have done it, right? Because it was,
I know, that's true. That is very true.
Stylized for Heart, obviously. Yeah. But yeah.
My favorite song on that album is Imperial Hotel.
Oh, yes.
Love it.
That's lovely. Yes, that's a great tune. Yeah, I think there was a lot of good songs on this.
There was a lot of good songs.
Yeah.
I saw her on this tour. That was the first time I've ever seen somebody sneeze on stage.
This is why I don't do live music, because I have my daily sneeze where I sneeze 8 times in a row, and everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? It's allergies, guys. I'm not sick. Leave me alone.
Right. All right,
I'm out. It's all up to you guys. I'm done.
So yeah, 1985, the other record that I really, really got into a lot was Head on the Door by The Cure, which just turned 40, the week that we're recording this. In Between Days is a masterpiece. Everybody knows it. But Close to Me is great. A Night Like This is really, really disturbingly great. And then you've got The Blood, and you've got Screw, and all this. It's sort of when, The Cure were on the precipice of really doing something. Standing on a Beach, it came out, or the singles thing, and then they put this out, and then it was off to the races after this, because you get, Disintegration and everything else after it. But they really were in top form with this record, and changed the lives of tons of people, and launched lots of black clothing, and made everyone happy.
Yeah, this was a good record. Sort of in the similar vein, Echo and the Bunnymen. I wouldn't normally put a compilation album on my list, but
this is good because we're going to cover 2 of them right now.
Okay. Well, Songs to Learn and Sing is such an amazing compilation. It's all of their singles from the previous 4 albums. Plus you get the new song,
Yeah.
Bring on the Dancing Horses, which is amazing. But,
Yeah, that's a good one.
oh, I'm going to say that The Cutter is my favorite song,
Yeah.
like by
Yeah, that's
far from Echo, but which is from Porcupine album, which is amazing album. So anyway, this was more of like an honorable mention for me because it's a compilation. But, it's
but the thing is that was a gateway for so many people to a lot of other bands.
Yeah.
That compilation, like when that came out, I was like, oh man, these guys are great. And that's when I fell in love with Echo and the Bunnymen. You know?
Okay, cool.
At the same time, on the same day. So, I mean, this shows you how genius Sire Records are, right? On the same day in 1985, they released Songs to Learn and Sing and Depeche Mode's Catching Up with Depeche Mode at the same time.
Yeah.
Literally, all these kids with eyeliner and fishnets, they all exploded.
Yeah.
Right. And we're never heard from again. But that's got like a bunch of their singles on it too. It's got, Just Can't Get Enough. It's got See You. It's got all their, I think, flexibles on it and stuff. So you have these 2 really great compilation records back to back that are going to shape sort of where we're going in the 90s. So I think that's important.
Yep.
Okay, I've got 2 reports to do. And usually, sometime every year I do a prog report, and mid 80s, there's, not a lot of big stuff going on, but
we already talked about Marillion.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few notable things though. IQ puts out an album called The Wake, which is not my favorite IQ album, but is really good. Patrick Moraz and Bill Bruford from Yes, they're both from Yes, but not at the same time. They never crossed paths in the Yes lineup. Did an album called Flags, which is a weird album, but I like it. Marillion, Misplaced Childhood, of course. Rush puts out Power Windows in October, and that's a keyboard-drenched album that's got some really great songs on it. And Asia did their 3rd album called Astra, which is the first one they did without Steve Howe. And this new guy called Mandy somebody comes in and does a good job. Okay. It's an okay album. It's like half great songs and half that, But the big thing for this year for me is I'm going to start. This is my first chapter of the ongoing Paisley Report, because this is the year that Prince launches Paisley Park Records. He somehow talks Warner Brothers into letting him have his own subsidiary label. And he signs a bunch of his friends, and he discovers a few artists, and like pretty much none of the records really sold that well, except for his and Sheila's. So Around the World in a Day, which is the follow-up to Purple Rain, came out in April. And when you have an album like Purple Rain, which is like genre defining and which is like iconic in a way that no other Prince album had been, the record label wanted him to follow it up with another Purple Rain, but instead he gave them Around the World in a Day, which is a weird album and very unexpected. And it kind of introduced people to the fact that Prince is going to be different every single time he puts out an album. And it's so good. And the title song is my favorite track on, well, actually, there's a song called America. That might be my favorite song on that record. I'm not really sure. So one of those 2 is going to be on the Spotify playlist. I don't know which one.
Both.
And then in August, like a week apart, the second 2 releases from Paisley Park Records comes out, and that is The Family, which is Wendy, who is Wendy Melvoin from The Revolution. Her sister Susanna has this band called The Family, and they put out a fantastic funk record, which is most notable for it being the origin of the song Nothing Compares to You, which was made a big hit by Sinead O'Connor a few years later. But the whole record is great. And it's, all the stuff on Paisley Park is pretty much out of print. So I don't know the band like reformed under a different name years later, and they put out a live album. So there is like some of the tracks from this album are on that live record, so I can use one of those as a representative. But the big single from this, and I say big in quotes because it didn't get a lot of airplay, is called The Screams of Passion. Oh my God, it's so cool. But the live version isn't as good, so I'll probably go with the opening track, which is High Fashion. Great song. And then Sheila E.'s second album, Romance 1600, comes out, which is a great record. And it opens with a track called Sister Fate, which is really, really cool. So that is the Paisley report for this year. And that's going to increase. And by the time we get to 87, Paisley Park is releasing just a crazy number of albums. So I can't wait till we get to that. But for now, 3 of them come out this year.
I like the Paisley report. That's a good addition
Yay.
to the show. We need the Paisley report.
I got super obsessed with, because I was a big Prince fan at the time. I got obsessed with Paisley Park Records, and I bought everything that came out. And my friend Ed once described me to his friends as he's the only guy I've ever known who collects a record label.
Nice.
Yeah.
So not the Paisley report, but the Anthony report, because my personal life begins here. My significant other was born in the latter half of 1985.
Aw.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, that's sweet.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Right.
I like her quite a lot. So
Now, I want to mention another Sire Records artist. Well, because Rob was talking about Sire. It's actually their first release on Sire, but they've had 3 albums before this, which is The Replacements. And this is the awesome album, Tim.
Yes.
Oh, this is a great album.
say Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
like the
T-I-M?
name. Yep.
Yeah.
Tim. Tim. Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So
Cool.
so Kiss Me on the Bus, amazing. That would be my favorite song on this album.
You're married, Stephanie. I'm going to pass on that.
So
You
many
can
great
kiss as
songs.
friends.
Waitress in the Sky, Bastards of Young, of course.
Yes.
Left of
Bastards
the
of the Young
Dial.
is still great. Left of the Dial.
I'll
Yeah.
buy. Oh, this is a perfect record, I think. And this is, I always thought not that I'm comparing my band at all with the greatness of the Replacements, but I feel like the Replacements were kind of just like a alternative kind of rock band. And I felt like that's what my old band, the Aquanettas, was. I kind of felt like we were just like, it's hard to, I don't know what to classify them as. They're just rocking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's great is I think it's this album that they did a video where basically the video is just a speaker.
Oh,
That's
is
cool.
that Bastards of Young? That might be Bastards of Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a speaker. Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah,
That's
I do
cool. I like
remember
that.
that actually now.
Yeah.
I think it's for Bastards of Young, yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of undefinable, we get Oingo Boingo's Dead Man's Party, which is much more than Dead Man's Party. There's so much other great stuff on this record. Danny Elfman introduced the stream of consciousness in a mainstream way on this record. And Just Another Day is great. And the whole record is just fantastic. And if you've never listened to it, go back and listen to it because it's great.
Awesome. All right. Rob, you had something on your list that's on my list too, and you haven't brought her up yet.
I was going to let you take her.
Oh, well, in that case, we're going to talk about Hounds of Love.
Yay.
Yes.
Oh,
God.
yes.
Oh,
I know.
that
I know.
album hurts. It's so good.
It's still great.
It is.
I mean,
And-
there would not be a Lord. There would not be
No.
like 10,000 other people if
There
was not a Kate
100%
Bush.
wouldn't be a Tori Amos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. And I will remember, I first got introduced to Kate Bush because Pat Benatar did a cover of Wuthering Heights on her second album.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, well, I don't know who this Kate Bush person is, but I love that song. And then I was walking through the record store and I saw the cover of the Lionheart album, and Kate is on the cover dressed in a lion costume. And I thought, well, that's weird, but that's that Kate Bush person that I heard on the Pat Benatar record. And then a couple of years later, I saw the video, and it was basically the Top of the Pops performance of Running Up That Hill, where it's her and musicians who were kind of dressed in 17th century, and they got like not modern instruments, but like 17th century kind of instruments, and they're playing miming to that song. And I was captivated by that video clip, and I bought the album, and I mean, it was not like anything I'd ever heard before, and I loved it. Every single minute of that album, I loved so much.
And I want to call out, it wasn't for another 2 years, but the performance of Running Up That Hill at the Secret Policeman's Ball in
Oh my God.
87.
Oh,
Yes.
hell
Yes.
yeah.
David Gilmour
Gilmour.
and Tony Franklin.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
I mean, Gilmore's guitar work, Kate Bush's voice, Tony Franklin's hairstyle,
Yeah.
winning.
I mean, he's a good bass player too, but that hairstyle, come on.
No, there's a great video on YouTube of him talking about performing that. And yeah, a lot of attention gets drawn to the hairstyle, but he talks about the fills he did on the fretless bass. And I mean, he's a phenomenal bassist.
Yes,
and I say
he
that
is.
as a bassist, but equally the hairstyle, dude.
Oh my God.
The hairstyle.
That whole Secret Policeman show, that was the third one that they did. It is amazing.
Yeah, I love those. Those.
It's like we can't talk about it in detail until we get to 1987. So 2 years from now, you're going to hear me talk about that one. God, I love that album so much.
Just want to say that, with the Stranger Things use of Running Up That Hill, just think about how many people this album, got introduced to just from that. I mean, she's
100%
got a whole new set of fans because of that, which is so great. Such a well-deserved.
So going back to the Secret Policeman's Ball, though, the lineage you get from Tony Franklin into other artists. I mean, he went on and played with Glenn Hughes. He played with Carmine Appice. He played with Marty Friedman. He played with Graham Bonnet. I mean, for God's sake, Graham fucking Bonnet. Who's ever thought about him in a long time? But like, you start building the map of these artists that have played together, and there's this weird link into Kate Bush, and it's just magnificent.
Well, interestingly, Tony Franklin played in a band that came out in the first half of this year that I didn't talk about in our last episode, and that's The Firm with Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers singing. That was a great record. Hang on, I got to get to the right tab on my spreadsheet. And I mean, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it at that time. It was one that I came to later on, but it is so good. The single on it was called Radioactive, and it's got this weird guitar lick. And I remember all the guitar players that I knew at the time were trying to figure out how Page played that thing. And when you watch the music video, his hand is never facing the camera, so you don't see how he did it. So I think he faked it. But there's some other really amazing tracks on there. Closer, the opening track is so good. Satisfaction Guaranteed was one that got a hell of a lot of rock radio airplay, and it is a fantastic song. And the closing song, Midnight Moonlight, it was like a 9 or 10 minute song, is incredible. But that was such a great record. And man, Tony, what a phenomenal player he is. So there's a bonus from the first half of the year that I didn't get to earlier.
Hello and welcome to your special delivery of the Cosmic Pizza podcast. I am Casey from the UK.
Dan in the UK. Finger on the pulse. That's this show. That's definitely what we're all about.
Paul in the UK. I don't eat mashed potato. It's horrible stuff.
John in Canada. First world problems. It's the only kind I have.
How are you doing, Paul?
And all 7 of our listeners want to know.
I'm pretty sure most of them are here. And we are here to serve you a delicious slice of life.
The Cosmic Pizza podcast is not about the cosmos, all about pizza.
So I guess we should get into my absolute love to a level that's probably not healthy of Psycho Candy by the Jesus and Mary Chain.
That is peak Rob Levy.
I saw them. We went to Chicago to go see them on this tour, and it was the first time I'd been. It's the first time I went to a concert in another city. They have their back turned to the audience. They played for 16 minutes, and they walked off the stage. And I'm like, that is fucking amazing. I don't care, right? But like, I didn't know. I literally, it's the first time I'd listened to something, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was like, Just Like Honey is like weirdly beautiful. Like now it sounds totally like it sounds like every other record, but there's something really beautiful about like Just Like Honey that's just really fantastic. But then you get like Taste the Floor and Cut Dead. Cut Dead is like really sad, right? This is like if the Beach Boys had taken all of the sad drugs ever and made a record.
I think they
right?
did.
And then you get,
Yeah.
it's like you get the Wall of Sound, you get the Beach Boys, and then you get this like angst, this like burst of like Scottish angst, right? That's just like, and then Taste of Cindy, which is like really great. And the album sleeve is like incomprehensible. It's like it's in like Sanskrit or something with the handwriting and everything. And little did we know that band would be like huge. Just the last band I thought by the end of the decade would be huge, right? Is the Jesus and Mary. And there was something like rebelliously great about like walking to my locker in high school, listening to Bad Moon Rising, which came out earlier that year by Sonic Youth, which was like, had all these tropes of like metal and Satan and stuff in it. And then also listening to the Jesus and Mary Chain Psycho Candy that was like, I felt like I was like rebelling more than anybody else in the entire world. But yeah, there's something, it was like, it was dark and it was grimy and it was ugly, but it was also beautifully like magnificent and like DIY. And it later would sort of give rise to like Creation Records and a bunch of these other labels that I liked. But I love this record. My love of the Jesus and Mary Chain Psycho Candy record borders almost on my love of like, Doctor Who. It's like, I literally can listen to this record every single day. And then this is another record that sort of comes in. Steph comes into this picture later as well. 1985 is the year that the world gave us Frank.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about Frank.
Folk singer. And I got to see Frank because this record rep at Island got me into the show at Cicero's. And I had gotten my wisdom teeth pulled that day. And I'm sitting there watching Frank. And she comes up to me after the show. She's like, "Are you okay? You didn't look like you had any fun. You didn't laugh at my jokes." "Oh, I had my wisdom teeth pulled." And she gave me a big hug and signed my record and couldn't have been nicer. But folk singer's great. Because like, who the hell's writing songs about Martina Navratilova, right? And, there isn't a Melissa Etheridge making records at this time. You don't really have the Indigo Girls. She's out in your fucking face,
She's a great artist.
But she was funny.
Yeah, she's
the
very
Frank record. It's like, it's really funny and it's really great. And you should go, if you listen to this part of the show and you would give a record that you should re-listen to, that's not the Oingo Boingo record and The Firm, you should go re-listen to Folk Singer by Frank. Both of those records are very rebellious in different ways.
Yes.
Well, shit, I felt really young because
you are.
I had no idea who Frank was until just now.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You are it.
I'm waiting for the comeback.
Stephanie, there's one more that you wanted to do, isn't there? Pat Benatar?
In Excess is out. Oh, Pat Benatar? I actually didn't have that on my list, but
you didn't?
No.
Oh, shit.
I have one quick thing that Steph might want to jump on too.
Okay.
And maybe Anthony, I don't know. But one of the first videos I remember watching after I got MTV at home and I didn't have to like slum at somebody else's house to watch it, I turned it on and there's this band called the Fine Young Cannibals doing Johnny Come Home.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And that first Fine Young Cannibals record is fucking amazing. If you were a fan of the English, I didn't know who the English Beat were,
Yeah.
That Johnny, and then you got Suspicious Minds on there.
Yes.
And
that's a
Don't Ask Me to choose. I think, no, Don't Ask Me to choose. But you've got a couple other things on there. I think you got Blue and some other stuff on there. It's a really great record. And we've talked about sort of this revision with like soul singers going on at the time. Roland Gift was like, that voice is pretty
so unique,
fantastic,
so unique.
And you can see everything that's happening later with She Drives Me Crazy sort of planted in that first record.
Yeah.
Don't make me sing it.
Right.
And then you got bands like Felt that are great that are coming around, and then Oil and Gold by Shriekback.
That's a great album.
I heard Shriekback on the radio last
Island.
week, and I hadn't heard them in a million years.
Yeah.
Also on Island.
Yeah, also on Island. Exactly. Yep.
I remember the first time I talked to you, Steph.
Yeah.
You said, "Oh, I'm an Island Records rep." I said, "Oh yeah, Shriekback's on." And then you made me listen to Go Bang, and I resented you.
All right, I've just got a couple that I want to squeeze in really quickly. Roger Daltrey puts out a solo album this year called Under a Raging Moon. Mm-hmm. The single on it was After the Fire, which was a great tune, but the title track was kind of a tribute to Keith Moon, who had died a couple of years earlier, and it's a really good song. but it has this drum line on the song, which has, I mean, just the most incredible array of very well-known drummers playing on this one song. And it is Martin Chambers from the Pretenders, Roger Taylor from Queen, Cozy Powell from Rainbow and other bands, Zach Starkey, Carl Palmer from ELP, and Mark Brzezicki from Big Country. I mean, all of them playing together on this fucking song, and it is incredible. I have to mention very, very quickly my love of Sade.
And yes, that record is great. You're right.
Yeah, it is. And the two big singles on it were Sweetest Taboo and Never As Good as the First Time. The opening track, Is It a Crime, is the best Sade track ever. But this whole album is so good, top to bottom. War of the Hearts is so wonderful. I love that song. Jezebel is a great song. And the whole thing is just incredible. I love it. Let's see, Pat Benatar has a great album called Seven the Hard Way, which is one that I really love. And it's got a lot of great songs on it. That's got Invincible on it, which was, the theme song from some damn movie. I don't even remember now. It was
from The Legend of Billie Jean.
Yeah,
which was
Billie
a great
Jean
movie.
Which is not Billie Jean King, which is what I thought at the time.
No, it was one of those teen movies. I loved it though.
Yep. And we talked about Run DMC last week in the first half of this year, but LL Cool J put out his debut album this year also, Radio, which is a great record also. And the title track is my favorite song on that album. It was the big single from that. It is such a good song.
That's a great album and a great debut. Yep.
Yeah.
He was like 16, right? I think something like that. He was super young when he put that out.
Yeah, he was really young.
Yeah.
Some of the singles that came out that year that I love is Cyndi Lauper's theme song for the Goonies movie.
Yes.
Captain of Her Heart by Dublé.
Oh, that record's so great.
I Don't Want to Play Sun City. I love that.
Yeah.
View to a Kill by Duran Duran and Life in a Northern Town. God, I love that song so much.
Great song. Yes.
Yeah, it is. So I guess that's going to do it for us for 1985. I only got about half of the stuff that was on my list to talk about.
Also, Love and Rockets' Seventh Dream of Teenage Heaven, their first record. Amazing.
Okay. Once again, that's going to wrap us up for this year for 1985. So join us again next week when we're going to be joined by our very good friend, Matt Alsbach of the Rock and Metal Professors podcast. We're going to be talking all about Ozzy Osbourne. We're going to be talking about his legacy, his career, and some of our favorite memories of him. So join us for that. Until next week, Stephanie, where can people find more about you?
You can find me on Facebook under Stephanie Seymour Music. You can find me on Instagram at @there_r_birds. You can find me at a website called therearebirds.com. And you can find me on Bandcamp and Spotify and all these places under my name.
Groovy. Anthony, go.
Don't go listen to me. Go listen to Stephanie.
Okay. Is that it?
Thanks, Anthony.
You can hear me on the Watchers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, where we are watching our way through all of Doctor Who from start to finish. We are currently in the 5th Doctor era, Peter Davison. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, etc., wherever you like to listen to your podcast, including wherever you're listening to this one. So please do check us out. Also, you can follow me personally on Instagram at Englishman in ATL.
All right, Rob, hit it. Be quick.
You can find me on Insta and the Facebook under my name. Mondays, you get the double the misery. It's like your 2 shots of Paregoric when you were a kid back in 1985. You get Antics, my show on Louder Than More Radio at 6 to 8 Greenwich Mean Time, 12 to 2 Central, 1 to 3 Eastern. That's out of Manchester. And then that evening, 5 to 7 Eastern Time, or Central Time, 6 to 8 Eastern, is the Free Design on the Face Radio out of Brooklyn. And then every other Saturday, well, it's on every Saturday, but there's a new show every other Saturday on Eardrum Buzz Radio out of Los Angeles. That show's called The Comfort of Madness. And more news later on show number 4.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Konnichiwa.
And you can find more about me at cosmiccreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com. All right. Until then, everybody take a great week and keep rocking on. And I should say, email us and let us know your favorite albums from the year 1985 and what they meant to you and what you were listening to at that time. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great week. See ya.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.